Hey, what's up, you sexy bitches, and welcome back to this week's Weekly D. And today I have one of my good friends, Oona Kivelä, on with me. Myself and Oona talk about her amazing career. She's won more competitions than you could possibly ever imagine. She's a world champion and one of the funniest people I know. I love Oona so much. I'm really excited for you to hear this because you're going to learn some things about Oona that you probably don't already know. So, welcome. This is the Weekly D. Because, honey, if you ain't getting your D on the daily, you better at least begin it once on the weekly.
If you're not getting any and you want some tea, then come and join Dan up on the Weekly D. It's the Weekly D.
Yay, welcome, Oona. Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast. I'm going to get something out of the way straight away. I always say Oona because I've said it for fucking years, and it wasn't until you did your explanation video that I then was like, I've been saying her name wrong for years, and now I can't get out of it. Everyone in the UK says Oona. It must be so annoying for you.
It was in the beginning, but nowadays it's not anymore. I'm just like okay with things.
Yeah, you're just a lot more chill with it now. So for anyone listening, the best way to think of how to say Oona's name is by listening to the Rihanna song saying, "Oh na na, what's my name? Oh na na."
That's it.
So
You'll get so far.
If you're ever wondering, that's the best way. And every time I say Oona now, I'm like, damn it, no, you said it wrong. How are you? You've been a busy person, hey? You've just opened a new studio, right?
Yeah, I would say I've been definitely good, but since I've been living this 5 years of a non-studio owner, or like I had a gym before, like the gym for kids, and then now for 5 years I've had this like most peaceful and loving and amazing time, and then I knew that it's gonna come, the day will come, that I will eventually open a studio, and our studio opening is literally this Friday.
And you're opening it with a friend, right?
Well, I can't, now she's a friend, but we actually didn't even know. So she's a twerk dancer from Finland. I would say we are very kind of like similar, the way we have like got into a sport, made it in our country in a way like more like so that people know this sport more, and we've been like both very, I would say, like publicly out with this particular, like she with the twerk dance and me like with the pole. So it's like really funny how our like paths crossed, and I could have never imagined. I could have.
How did they cross?
Through a friend, and I've been like talking to her like, I want to open a studio, or I want to do something like that, and she goes to her other ear, I want to open a studio and I need to get a new place, and she's like, guys, I have to like put you together. Why don't you do it together? That would be like fucking amazing.
So is the studio going to have 2 rooms? So one for twerk, one for pole, or is it going to be one room that you both share?
We're starting off in a way with this like first, I would say, location. We have only one room, and I had from like Oona K camps, I have 10 pole stages, stage poles. So I was like, okay, we're definitely gonna start with this. And then suddenly I was like, oh my God, is this going to be more like show elementsy, like more show business kind of type? Because what I saw, like the twerk dancers were doing, like they're like performing with like Finland's top like artists, and they have this whole gig life, like big. And I'm like, aha, you guys are doing it like that. So how can I do it with like the pole scene, or like the pole scene what we have? And I'm like, oh my God, there's like so much synergy. And then I was like, actually we really need the stage poles, because that's all we can bring to gigs. And now I wanted to come up with a new concept. I did not want to just put another studio up. And then I was like, okay, our whole like aspect in the studio is going to be how we're going to bring pole into the gigs, how we're going to bring pole into like the show part, like really like the show element. What can we do with the stage poles, like the sit-ups, circles, diagonal, like a little forest of poles, you know, like, and you know, I have Olga Trifonova here, so she's like crazy in her mind, and like the
Yeah.
experimental side is like boom, and it's like suddenly I was like, oh my god, I used to hate stage poles, and now I'm like, oh my god, the possibilities.
Yeah, well, because if you're talking about getting creative, you've got so much more possibilities with a pole that moves
Yeah.
around rather than a pole that's fixed in one place.
Yeah.
And you said about Olga being there. So can you explain this to me? I think
Yeah.
you've actually explained this to me once before. Olga lives with you, right?
Okay, so 1 year back, so it all basically started because 3 years ago I stopped touring, and I was like, I don't want to go. I had this, like, you know, this 20-year-old who's like, woo, I'm a pole star, I'm gonna go to all these countries, and I'm just like here and there. And then came the close to, like, what would I say, 35-year-old pole star who's like, I don't ever want to get out of my house. So, and I
I
was
feel
like,
you.
yeah. So suddenly, like, the touring and like just like literally doing, I was like, I was looking at my like carbon footprint, and I was like, Jesus Christ, it cannot be like 10,000 times as big as a normal person's like like the figures were like so high, and I was like, is there something I can do? Like, do I have to make a living like this, or could I change this somehow? And I love challenges, and I love kind of like always coming up with like new ways of doing business. And then I was like, how about I will make a training team in Finland. I will call the juniors that I know at the moment who have been like doing some like private like classes or choreos or whatever. And I'm like, hi guys, if I put like this kind of training team, I don't know where, but like, would you be in it? And they're like, hell yeah. And I have like 5 people saying yes. So I was like, okay, let's just do this training team. What should it be called? Oona K training team. Fine. Okay, Oona K training team. Yeah, it's for competitive, more kind of like people who want to train a lot more. The way I used to train gymnastics, but like, let's give it like a real coaching aspect. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to have a studio. I want to do this. I want to like really focus on the same people. Now we have 67 students, and we're like,
How many?
67.
Oh, I thought you said 6 to 7. I was like, oh, 7, is that it? I was
We
like,
made
okay.
it 3 years. We increased.
I was like, 3 years and you increased by 2 people. Wow, that's amazing. I was like, what?
Yeah.
67. So you're coaching 67. Are they all, I assume they're not all turning up at the same time.
No, we have 5 different. So I ended up renting a studio, and what was amazing, I come to a studio that I can rent and just come there, get out, you know? And this was kind of like a soft start for me. I had my own gym for 10 years. I was completely burned out after that. And then I had 5 years to like calm down. And then I was like, okay, this is a soft start. I will rent a studio. I will only rent these like 4, 5, first we just had 3, I think. And now in 3 years we have increased, so we have close to 70 students plus all the visitors that are coming all the time. And yeah, we have 5 different hours basically that you can come. All of our trainings are 2 hours, which I love. So it's half gymnastics, half pole, just the way I like it. And then I was thinking, okay, because I'm this like maniac. I all the time want something more, and all the time I want to provide for the students like a news, and I want something more for every season. And then I was like, what are the chances if I call Olga Trifonova? Would she say yes to come to Finland? And I was like, I already had like a big plan for her, because I always do. And I was like, hey, Olga, like, what if you would come for 3 months and we would fix you a visa and blah, blah, blah. And Olga, typical Olga, was like, yeah, yeah, sure, yeah, I can come. But like when a Finnish person calls you and asks, they mean it. It's not small
Yeah.
talk. It's like
Yeah.
we're on it and we are doing it. So she couldn't really imagine that I was like for real. We started fixing the visa, and we got the first 3 month visa. She came here. We started immediately applying for a 1 year visa, or no, actually like a 3 year visa. And she was like, yeah, I'm not gonna stay here. And I was like, just saying to my assistant, I was like, we'll see about that, and we'll see what she's gonna say in like 6 months or something. So she moved here. I kind of like talked her into, I feel like it was like a big thing because I felt like there was always so much chemistry between us, and there was so much something that I really didn't know why I'm so part of her life. But already when she was like 12 years old, I invited her several times to Finland, and I just felt like I really need to kind of like in a way help her, but also like mentor her so that she can really do, because she's supposed to do this kind of artist job. And I feel like she really needed like guidance and help so that she can like establish like her brand, because I'm a huge fan still every day of her. And I believe I always promote her like to everyone in Finland. I was like, if you think I'm good, she's better. And it's like that's where we are. She's that good. And
You're like her pole mama.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'll call her. I will not have this like idol. That sounds horrible to my ear. But yeah, so I have this horrible tendency of dragging people out of their houses somewhere to where I live. And I've done it now 6 times already to see different people. So I'm dragging them all around Finland. And I'm like, you should move here. You should train with us. And then Olga was like my next bigger target. And I got her here too. And yeah, so basically she completely fell in love with the training team idea. She was really like happy to share, because I trust her teaching 100%. We're like a really nice team. I take care of the basics and the conditioning and the gymnastics side, and she will take care of the transitioning, signature, like original combos, which I'm like, guys, you don't need any original combos. You need a fucking handstand. And if that handstand doesn't work, so I'm this type of, and she loves to do like these more like artsy stuff. And even though I love artsy stuff, but I'm still so obsessed with basics and like the conditioning part. So here we are. This is literally how it went. And we have, like, my dad is always saying like, Oona, you don't understand what a team you have here. Like, this is like, he always says that if I would be a millionaire living in Dubai, I would buy all of your like classes for my daughters and just send them to Finland for an eternity course. And I'm like, thank you, Dad. Thank you so much. You have only one daughter, and that's me.
I think that's so nice though. And so she's a coach for the team. She's not on the team as such. She is more of a coach for the team.
Oh yeah, definitely. Me and her, we are the coaches for the whole our team. She's also been coaching the Finnish national team, because we have like every year the national team is being selected by the federation.
And this is IPSF?
This is POSA.
POSA, okay. Actually, tell me about that. So you changed over to POSA, which is ran by Davide and Alessandro?
Yeah,
is that their one?
Yeah.
What made you go from IPSF to POSA?
I did actually both. I've done both, but I think it just gave so much room for artistry, like the POSA rules. That was simply the only reason.
So it just gave you a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, to like, because like the points for the artistry it's really high, and I really like it in the mix. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love to do sports. I'm completely like 50-50. But if I can still go, like now I'm going to pole art Italy and so on. So it's like I still do the arty comps, but I really, really like the sports comps. I absolutely do, because it like the training towards that kind of a comp is so hardcore, and I like it.
I was gonna say, and I always have had you down as a kind of like a hardcore pole dancer, and I always remember, and I'm really intrigued to kind of go back really and try and find out where you think it comes from. But I'll always remember, and it's one thing I always tell people, I'm like, when I say to people, I'm like, you should never be ashamed of being competitive. I was like, you know, Oona Kivelä is competitive. And I always remember when you did your routine at the World Pole Sports Championships in London, and you just finished your routine, and then you bowed. And then as you walked off, you literally clenched your fist and you were like, yes. And I always remember thinking like, good on her. Like, she knows that she's done really well. She knows that she's pretty much won this competition. And why shouldn't you be competitive? Where do you think that competitive streak comes from?
My dad, he's very competitive. He has been doing like on a international high level, like windsurfing. He's just like generally, I'm very much like him, I would say. My mom is definitely not that competitive and doesn't have kind of like the cool for that. But my dad was always like a very sort of like cool as a cucumber, like going into like stressful situations in a way, and he just really had it, I feel like. So I would say genes.
Would you say that you're cool as a cucumber when you're going into these sort of situations, or not so much?
Anymore, but I used to be. And then, because it's always like whatever happens in your life is also a big, like, because everything will be sort of happening then there. If there are stressful situations, your whole life is suddenly on the table. So it always depends on my table.
Yeah, of course. And do you plan? So I think you mentioned it a second ago. Do you plan on competing again?
Yes.
What competition? Pole art, did you say?
Yeah, I'm gonna do pole art Italy, and then I'm gonna do the Finnish championships, and then the Posa World Champs will be held in Finland this year. So that's
And you're going to compete. You're not just going to train the team for it. You're going to compete as well.
I'm gonna compete.
Nice. How have you managed to?
Yeah.
And I asked this really just more because I'm more intrigued to know how you've done it. Like,
Yes, it's a good question.
How do you keep doing it? Like, my body just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
It could maybe do one a year. Like, I just feel like every time I see you, you always bring something different. You're always staying on top of your game. It's not like you're competing just to take part. You're always competing to win. And how are you doing that still? Like, you were talking about in your 20s, you were, you know, that was when you first became a pole star. You're what, 30? How old are you now?
I'm turning 40.
What? This is crazy. Like, this is what I mean. Like, how has your body managed to do that?
Yeah.
What's the secret sauce? Tell me, because I need to write it down really quickly right now.
So my sauce when I was 20 was simply just hunger and all the frustration that I had from gymnastics, that I never made it. And I knew inside, in my heart, in my soul, that I was supposed to make it in a way. And everybody has such a different meaning of like making it. But I definitely wanted to be like doing something completely like unexpected, unusual, something different, something that would shake people's cores. So I got it all out when I found pole. And then I did everything wrong. My back was aching for 10 years. I was just so hungry that for 10 years I basically, or at least 8 years, I trained like so bad. Like, yeah, just bad. Simply just bad. And
What does that mean for people listening to this?
Yeah,
They're probably thinking,
yeah,
what does she mean? Like,
yeah.
do you mean like
So like
you weren't
12-hour
stretching
days,
after? Or...
yeah, 12-hour working days, and then 2 hours before the work and 2 hours after the work, and then not eating enough because some idiot like nutritionist said that let's cut the fat and the carbs and like everything as wrong as you could ever do it. Overtraining, overworking, over everything. But it happened for a reason, and I am unfortunately the type who doesn't learn if I don't kind of like really go deep into this like massive mistakes. And nowadays I don't, I guess, do so hardcore mistakes anymore, but I used to do everything like just so wrong. But in a way it was the only thing I knew, it was the only way I had to run the business, so my escape was whenever the business was done I had to train. So it's like, in a way I don't feel bad about it because I didn't know any better. Like I just really, that was the only thing I knew. And
what was the turning point for you?
a complete burnout, like just like death basically. So like death. And
Oh, so you got physically sick as well, like you physically made your
yeah,
body
I
ill.
was just like, I was so worn out, and I was so like, it was literally like just working your ass until you can't almost move anymore. I never, like, the injuries didn't, I would say it was a mental death much more. I didn't get badly injured or anything. It was a complete mental death. And that's when I say, I have either the gym that I'm running or pole, and it was a very easy decision. I gave up the gym.
Is that when you sold the gym, didn't you?
Yeah,
This was the kids'
yeah,
gym,
yeah.
right?
I sold my
Was it
part.
called was it called Jimmy?
Yeah,
Jim?
yeah,
Yeah, do you know, isn't that so weird? That's randomly stuck in my
yeah.
head. But and this was equipment that you sold. Well, it was kids' gym equipment, or it was
No,
actually a
it was
physical
like a
gym.
proper gym where I was teaching kids like parkour, gymnastics, all that.
Right, okay. And how do you get on? Because now you've gone and transitioned completely to adults, right? You don't teach kids as... Oh, actually, no. Do you teach the
Yeah,
kids pole team
yeah,
as well?
yeah,
Oh, so you do still get to teach
yeah.
kids. How do you find that? Because I fucking hate
Yeah,
teaching
yeah,
kids.
and I 100% understand, but so I will come a little bit back to your like question, still like the previous one. So how, what changed? How am I? Because I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm not kidding. I am in a like, okay, at this moment I'm almost about to start to cry, but that's only because of like this week is a little hectic. But if we're like going, not from this week, not from the studio opening week, but in general, I feel physically so strong. I am like so well-being, and you can just like, I feel like see it in my face, and just like overall it's like I look like 20 years younger than I did actually 10 years ago. And it's like, it's just like, there was one morning when I woke up and I was like, when you're all warm in the morning and you wake up and the hair is there, and you're just like, you're getting this like little like body scan. You're just like,
Mm.
and I felt my body the way I remember when I was a child. I was maybe like 12 or 13, and I woke up and I felt my body as this 13-year-old body. And it was really hard to explain, because if you get a feeling of something, it's so much stronger that I cannot even almost describe the feeling. But there I was sitting, this 13-year-old girl, and I remember how it was to feel your own body when you were 13 years old. And this warmness when I wake up and I was like preparing to go to school. And then I was like, ha ha, no more fucking school ever. but the same feeling of the physical body, you know. But
And
yeah,
what did you change to
yeah.
get there?
So
What did you
these are
change for
yeah,
this to
these
happen?
are like huge changes. So first of all, I stopped working. I basically changed the way my income like was made, like completely. And I didn't know I had stress if I can do it. And it was actually really funny that it was like right before Corona. It was like we had an Oona K camp coming up. I was still like, I quit my job. I was doing workshops and I was still like going overseas and doing that for like a year, I guess, or two maybe. And then suddenly it was really funny because I said I don't want to work with kids anymore. Like I know I'm really good at it, but I just need a change. Like I did that work for so many years, 10 years, like nonstop. And it's not, there's nothing wrong with kids. It's just that it's so extremely demanding and I
No,
know
there
what
is.
it
Come on, don't
takes.
lie.
And I know,
Kids are the
yeah, and I
worst.
know what the good instructor is. I know what the kids need. So I don't want to be a bad teacher anymore in a way. So I wanted to transition to like adults for a little while. And then when the corona started, we had to cancel Oona K camp, which was like minus 15,000 maybe. And I was like, okay, that's a bummer. And then suddenly there was like, people were like, oh my God, everybody's at home and nobody has anything to do and the kids can't go to hobbies and whatever. And then like I'm doing this like online core classes for this like Finnish online platform company. And the owner called me and was like, oh no, everybody's asking for a kids class. I'm like, no, you do not drag me there anymore. Like, no. He's like, oh no, I got so many messages. Can you just like turn on your camera in the morning, 9:30 for like 5 days and just do your thing? And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I turned the camera on in the morning, and in the group there's 16,000 people. And
What?
I'm
Oh my God.
like,
What is this company?
okay, like what happened? It was like over a weekend. We like people were spreading the word that there is somebody who's doing free classes for kids like for 5 days. And then we did that for 5 days, and then I was like, okay, fine, I don't really know what else I'm gonna do, so we're gonna start doing this. And Oscar was filming me. I did it for 10 weeks straight, and we could get all the money back that we just lost. And it was like incredibly successful, and it was just like crazy.
Crazy.
And but then I was like, okay, enough is enough. And Oscar said he will not wake up at not even one time ever again at this hour. And I'm like, okay, I got you, I got you. And but then I was like, okay, how about I do this training team? How about I try with this kind of thing? And I had a very strong intuitive like feeling about it that I need to be doing this, and I want to coach people. I don't want to instruct, because I have a long history of coaching gymnastics and I absolutely loved it. And I have so much, in a way, experience and knowledge what I can take from gymnastics to pole coaching. So I started doing it, and my normal week started to look like I have 8 hours a week of coaching, and I could make my whole income only from that. So I had suddenly
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Did you say 8 hours a day or
eight
8 hours
hours
a
a
week?
week.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I I planned it really well. I really like, I still saw a lot of trouble, like I did so much, like the planning obviously was a big part of it, and I started doing these like monthly plans, how the trainings are going. Oh, obviously I was all the time thinking about the training team, and I gave them my everything, like really my everything. But I was like, no, it has to have a price. Like this is a super like hardcore coaching. I'm like theirs 24/7. I will give my like everything to them. And we could still basically I was doing that. I still had an assistant. I need to pay like Oscar. So there was like pay all the insurance, pay like, but then I was doing also this like online core trainings and just simply everything else that was being offered in a way. But still, I could still kind of make it from that kind of like the 8 till 10 hours a week that I went coaching. And when I coach, I don't do anything. I only stand or sit or like spot. Like the spotting is the physical side, but I do not show anything. Everybody knows what we're doing. I will like, if there are sometimes classes that I need to show, or if I choose that I want to do pole today for my workout, then I do it. But I have stopped completely, just the way gymnastics coaches, they do not show anything. They have very clear things. Okay, we're going to start with the warm-ups. Let's go with the invert climbs from both sides 2 times. Then we're going to go into the handspring kicks and so on. So it's like, and you know what? Everybody learns more. They don't need me showing anything. There might be some moves that sometimes I need to show, but I'd rather show a video.
I was going to say, because it's kind of like gymnastics coaching in the sense that there's always a kid that has done it the previous year that can show the kid that's new, right? So you've got 67 people or 70 people. You can be like, hey, Katie, show Oona how to do the handspring kicks.
Yeah. And because everything is very like instructed. So like people know like the plans already. They know when we're doing like basics, this and that. We're just like, okay, we're going to start with the handspring basics. Let's take your like pole books out and we're going to do the from 1 till 5 first. And, you know, that it becomes this much more type of like well-planned as like the gymnastics coaching. And I'm like obsessed with gymnastics, like really good gymnastics coaches who do this kind of like, planning for the whole year and all. So I still, well, it's not still, but like I copy as much as I can. I do so much rehab, like anything what they have these, like I just take all the help from there and I take it to the pole.
I don't know anyone else that does this. Do you know anyone? Are there any other countries that do
I've
something
never
like this,
heard.
or there's someone who's doing similar? No, I've not. It sounds very bespoke. It sounds very kind of exclusive, almost like an exclusive club. I'm really intrigued, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but feel free to say no, by the way. How much does a student pay to be part of the team?
I think if they come 1 time a week, it's I'm like the worst in our own prices. If they come, they can choose if they come one time, 2 times, or 3 times a week. They pay 100 and maybe 34 euros. So 134 euros for 1 month. And that means that they have 4 times in 1 month a 2-hour practice.
That seems fairly reasonable. Like it doesn't seem overly
and what's
priced.
Included, like before it was like 129 euros per month. But then now we added like 1 more like body care Zoom class. So I got so like tired of like people like wanting to do like kind of flexibility stuff. But then I was like, you know, when you come here and we're not going to sit and stretch in these like facilities when we can do like all these dynamic like that. I was just like, no way, we don't have time for that. And it's like, you know me, I'm not like the biggest like enthusiast of contortion or whatever. So I'm like, no, we don't have time for that. We're not going to come to this kind of gym with this kind of facility to do some like passive stretches. So now we do it on Zoom, so everybody gets it. And we could only like, we only raise the price like 5 euros for everyone. So we can actually do it. And everybody gets the access once a week to this class and they can do it at home.
Who teaches it?
One of our teachers, Sanni.
Okay. Oh, hey, so sorry to interrupt your podcast. I just wanted to come on real quick and tell you about one of our sponsors. So today's sponsor is Backbone Polewear. If you don't already know who Backbone Polewear are, they are a brand based in Greece and they offer a range of pole clothing, offering clothing not only to women but men as well, which is awesome because I don't see that very often. And one thing I love about Backbone is that they're a super inclusive brand. One thing I did notice was when I was looking through their website, they have a plus size pole range, a range that they call the Pole Has No Size range. And I absolutely love this. Do you know what? We don't have enough representation for the plus size community. And I just love that Backbone are doing this. Thank you so much, Backbone. I know there'll be plenty of plus size polers out there who will be super, super happy to hear about this. So do go and check out Backbone. They offer all sorts of different things. I'm actually looking on the website now. They've got men's, they've got yoga, they've got tops, they've got swim and beach wear, streetwear, leotards. So if you've never gone and checked out Backbone before, you need to go and do so now. So make sure you go and check out Backbone Polewear. Okay. So, and actually, this is a really important thing to touch on as well, I feel. More just, not just for your team, but for coaching. What's your views on, you were saying like, I'm not the biggest enthusiast on contortion. Yeah, I don't think you ever have been. I don't think I've ever seen you try for contortion moves, but you've always been a splitter. What's your views on, so let's say, for example, you have someone come and join your team who is crazy bendy and they want you to obviously help them with their poser routine. Are you choreographing moves like contortion moves in for them because it's one of their strengths, or do you only really coach them in the stuff that you kind of know? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we have so many bendy juniors, and you can you can only imagine where their problems lies. It's in the strength and in the control. So I have very specifically told them that we are definitely skipping all the really hardcore moves that actually they have got injured while doing it. And what are you talking, like Rainbow Marchenko? Rainbow Marchenko, broken dolls with like super heavy like stretches, because these girls, they don't have the control, they don't have the strength to be in these moves. They can only like go into them, but there is nothing holding on. And nothing's getting them out. I'm like, girls, we are gonna start working exactly what I do best, because that's also what you need and what is your, like, literally your top priority. That we can go into these moves again, but we need to take care of entire body to build the body to be able to do these moves. Because I've also noticed that the people who are a little bit stiff, they don't get injured. But actually the ones who are extremely bendy, these are the people who are continuously having a little bit of a pain here and there. Yeah. I mean, I do find that though. I mean, I don't know if you do much judging anymore, but do you not find like when you go and watch competitions now, I could literally say that maybe even like 40%, 50% of the people who are on stage sometimes are just not strong enough to be doing some of these moves that they're doing on stage, and they're just not clean enough. And it's so clear that yes, you can do the move as a one-off move, but that doesn't mean you can put it into a routine. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah. I mean, you can only imagine what my like opinion is. Like, we work on our lines and just like overall like control of the body so much. We do like ridiculously much. We do it so much that the people almost complain to me that they're so tired of doing my basics, that when are we gonna do something else? And I'm like, we're going to do something else. It's not like I'm a big authority like this who says, we're like all friends. We ask for feedback nonstop. We want to make it the best training team. And we have always been listening to, because so many adults, so we're all kind of on the same line. Juniors are a little bit different because then I need to also kind of like stand as an adult sometimes. Also for the other adults too. But in general, people know, they complain to me, but at the same time, they already know what my response is. That when they are clean and when they are like, when you are mastering, I always tell the people like, guys,
if you're learning a new skill and you can do the skill, that's the beginning of the road. That's where that's where we start our journey towards mastering a move. And these people sometimes who haven't trained with me, they're like, once they nail a skill, they're like, yay, great, that's it, awesome, I can go forward. And I'm like, no, this is where we start. This is where we start the work. Now you can actually do, now we're going to start seeing how well you are mastering it.
Right. And you're talking earlier on about, it's kind of changed the subject a little bit, but it's similar. You were talking about how you woke up and your body felt like it did when you were younger, and that you'd changed the way you train and your body feels better now. Because you were saying that you had a dietitian and stuff that told you just like to cut all your fats and stuff like that. What's your relationship with your body now?
Yeah, better than ever. Really, I love to be in my skin. I gotta say, I've always really loved being in my skin. My dad was always naked around the house, no matter what body type he was in. It's like he always loved to like just be in his skin. So I feel like I kind of again like got that. So I don't really have this like. Of course, everybody sometimes, like I have some kind of like things that I want my lines, for example, to get better, or like I need to work on something that I know that I haven't been working on. But overall, when I wake up in my skin, I am the happiest person alive, and I really enjoy it. And yeah.
And what's your view? Because I talk to people about this. I'm really intrigued to hear your opinion on this, because I feel like maybe it's changed over the years. I've just noticed that people like us doing the jobs that we do tend to always have these picture perfect bodies, especially the men. It's more so the men, I would say. They're all ripped, their diets, like whenever I'm at pole camps and I'm with other men, I hate it, because I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be eating these salads and stuff with you. You enjoy that. Like, I love that for you, but that's not my vibe. I've had a period, as you know, because you will have seen me at some of the competitions, where I am slimmer and I am more toned because of the competition, not because I've ate really any differently. It's just because my body is in a different place with training. Yeah. But what's your views on that? Like, do you ever look at your body and think, oh, I wish I had like crazy abs? Or have you ever been like that?
I have to say that I look at it very kind of like it is what it is. So if I'm living my life kind of like what I live today, the way I eat, the way I train, then I look at in the mirror and I'm like, so with this kind of amount of training and this type of food, I look like this. And then when it changes, I'm like, okay, interesting. So now that I eat like this and I train like this, it looks like this. And I don't know, but I don't have this, like it's missing from me that I wouldn't be like, because I don't see it as, like people have like expectations or something. I don't see it like that. I just see like the correlation, like you do this, like skill, like people are like, I really want to do the deadlift. I'm like, oh, if you really want to, again, you tell that to a Finnish person. I was like, okay, I'll tell you exactly what to do. Now we're going to start doing this and this and this and this and this. And it has to happen this many times a week. And then we're going to do this. And I just see it like that. And I have to say that what has changed in my mind is that whenever I see somebody who's really ripped, I always thought that like, okay, wow. And then I've noticed that every time I see somebody very skinny, it has always led to the fact that they have like an eating disorder, or there's like a massive like this. And it's like really, I'm like, oh, wow, interesting that I always looked up to them maybe as like really well trained and fit. And now I actually understand that, no, they're not the healthy ones.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
A perfect example of that was, do you remember when Amy Hazel was very open about the
fact it was beautiful the way she wrote about it.
She was really good about it. And it was so good that she was open about it, because obviously there were people at one point that were like, wow, she
Yeah.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
Then she lost more weight, and then she was
Yeah.
like, I need to be honest, I've got an eating disorder. And it was so important. It was such a turning point for me as well, to be like, oh, okay, she wasn't doing this kind of on purpose. This was an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I like talking to people about it, because I go through, stages like everyone does, where I'll look in the mirror and be like, oh, I would like a slightly flatter tummy. And then I'm like, yeah, but I'm kind of happy in the body I'm in. Like,
Exactly.
I can do a lot
So
of
why
cool
would
stuff.
this kind of like, like when I'm like feeling myself and I'm like, oh, I feel so good. I feel so, and then I would like take all of my, let's say, clothes off, and I would look at it and I'm like, isn't it weird that the mind is so twisted that suddenly when I really have the best moment of my because you feel it inside when you're really like, when I feel that I've been training, I have this like, oh, I just had food, it's really going into my body and feeling energetic. But that is the feeling, that's what we're aiming at. So it needs to be a feeling rather than a look. But I gotta say that already when I was little, I was always really extremely skinny. Like I was so horribly skinny when I was like very, very like small child. But then for me, it was also like, I was definitely always been very kind of like sweet tooth. So it's like the sugar addiction when I'm tired and when you don't eat enough. But I feel like it has always been really, for me, I've never really struggled. Like I had so many other problems, but that one was never one. So I've always felt extremely good in my body, and it has helped me tremendously in the years. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't look myself in the mirror and see like, oh, I'm pretty bloated. Like, but now I try to be like, it doesn't feel nice. So I don't want to eat that kind of things necessarily. It doesn't matter if it sometimes happens, it's fine. But it just doesn't feel nice in the stomach compared to when you're eating good nutrition and it just like goes immediately in because it's just like such pure good food. So it's like, I like this feeling,
Yeah,
And
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I would say in general in Finland, people are like there's, well, it's like hard to say. You cannot say like fucking one country would feel like. Of course, we have like everything from A till Z, but I would still, if we compare to Russia, for example, which is like right next door, it's like I don't feel like any woman in a way feel like as a what is the purpose of a woman would be like, you need to be appealing for the man to be able to be skinny and beautiful, a little bit these kind of like.
I've really noticed that. It's funny you should mention the Russian thing, because I've noticed with the Russians, I mean, I don't their body positivity thoughts are completely different to ours in Europe, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like the difference is huge.
It's crazy. I don't think I've ever actually met any famous Russian pole dancers that have been kind of over a size 2 kind of thing. They're tiny. And they all eat very, very well, and they all want to be very, very slim and stuff. And it's very much, I agree with you though. The country that you live in definitely dictates things like that, for sure. I want to ask, so can you, before I ask the next question, I just want to know the answer to one quick question. How many competitions have you won? How many titles do you have?
I don't know.
It must be like 20 plus,
I have no idea. I have to say, I've never counted.
I would assume, I mean, I've won a lot of competitions, and I know you've won more than me. So I'm just like, there's no way.
I promise I will get back
20.
to you on this, and I will count.
Yeah. I'm really intrigued to know the number, but mainly because, for someone who is competitive, has competed in a lot of competitions, obviously we don't always win them all. You have won a lot, but you've competed in obviously more competitions as well. What's the toll on your mental health? What does that look like? Like, how have you been through any periods where your mental health has been really bad because of your career?
I have to say the mental health has been like really bad, but really did not, in a weird way, it had never anything to do with my pole career.
Oh, okay.
So it was other problems, I would say. It was only like they were showing like I was such a brat in like in my early early years, and I was like,
Sorry, hold on. You were such a brat?
yes, I were.
You
Nobody's
mean you
like,
still are?
yeah, I still am, but in a very, I would say, nice and good way. Like I don't do stupid mistakes anymore. Not the way that
You're a diva, but you're a nice diva.
exactly. Yeah, but yeah, because I was just like in a really bad place with my life. So it was like, of course, it came out in every single field where I was. But I also have like forgiven myself in a way, all the like stupidest things I've done and said. And I think it's most important that you forgive yourself. And because then you can only start growing and see that, okay, you have made these mistakes and it's okay. And you have the power to change, and you need to take responsibility for what you have said. But in order to move on, you also need to forgive yourself and simply just move on and do good things.
For sure. And would you say that that time when you were suffering with the mental health was back when you had the kids' gym?
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting rid of that had lots of benefits,
My
not
whole it,
just.
it it was like a turning point in my entire life. Like everything changed. Absolutely everything.
So, just to wrap up, because we've only got like 5 minutes left. I just wanted to ask what can we expect to see from Oona? Like, what's your 10-year plan? Do you do that? I don't know
Yeah.
if that's a
I
thing in
do.
Finland. Like we have this like I'll ask people, I'll be like, what's your 5-year plan? What's
Yeah.
your 10-year plan? What can we expect to see from
Yeah.
Oona?
We have actually every year we have this like goals meet with lots of friends, and everybody needs to like list their goals and also go through like the previous year's goals and tell what was accomplished and what was not. And yeah, my I would say my like 5-10 year plan would be something like, now that I have the new studio, I would also want to like maybe build this like empire in a way. And when I say empire, I'm not talking about like only my own empire, but I actually want to incorporate. So I would want to definitely have a gym where there is pole, there is street workout, which is my big love also, and really get this like maybe like an Oona K training center. So I'm really kind of like obsessed with the way we train at the moment, these people, because we have so much fun. And I see Olga every time we go to trainings. She lives downstairs from me, and she comes up always, rings my bell, and she's like, come on, Oona, let's go. And she's so into it. And every time we walk to the trainings, we're like, imagine that this is our work. And this is like a fun fest every single time for 2 hours. And we have so much fun. We love what we do, and it's really also that the people appreciate it so much what we do. So it's like a perfect combination in a way, and we're like completely obsessed with these students, and they're like growing, and just yeah. So I feel like Oona K Training Center would definitely be something that I'm aiming at, and I'm also this like mad promotion person for all other people. So it's not about me. I just want to use my energy to get new people rolled in, and so that they can also learn how to have this kind of life what I have, because I believe that I am really truly living the best life anyone could really live, and I want to spread it. I don't want it to just keep it for myself. I want everyone to have it.
And a return of Oona K camps or no?
For sure, absolutely, at some point. But now that I opened the studio, I was like, never mind.
Yeah, of course. Tell me where people can find out about the studio, how to come and visit
Yeah.
you, like where can people find you? Just give, I know most people probably already follow you on
Yeah.
Instagram, but just in case they don't, tell us your Instagram, your studio name,
Yeah.
everything. Go.
So I would say Instagram is the absolutely the best one. So we have train, what is it, underline Oona K, which is like dedicated for Oona K training team. Then my own Instagram, which is Oona K official, and then Wonder Club FI for all the new studio. All of my online stuff you can find oonakstore.com. And yeah, we serve you at
Yeah.
info@oonak.com 24/7.
Yes. And just last question, actually, because I was just more
Yes.
intrigued to know. You're talking about Olga Trifonova living with you. How long has she lived there
1
now?
year, little over 1 year.
And do you think she's staying, or do you think she'll go back to Russia?
Let's put it this way, that we just got some devastating news about like it has been declined again, her visa.
No.
And I don't think that Finland is really looking, so like there's not like a lot of sympathy, or like at least like I don't know if they can even grant these places. But you know me, there is still an appeal, and I have hired
Oona loves a
I have
challenge.
hired a lawyer, and we're gonna fucking push through because I never ever give up.
So, is this because of the war? Is that why
I
you
don't
think
think
it's been
so. No,
declined
we
because
have
of the war?
made some mistakes, but now I honestly have to say I do not know. I just keep on reading in the newspaper all the time about the problems with our like immigration center, and that they are turning back who knows who. I mean, like it doesn't matter who you are, how much you would bring to this country. They don't care. So I have to say, I do not know. This is my first time ever I've handled anything like this, but I will not ever give up.
Yeah, keep going. Well, best of luck with the new studio. Best of luck with trying to get that visa sorted for Olga. And yeah, thank you for everything. You are a massive inspiration to me. I could talk to you all day. We barely covered anything that I wanted to talk about. So I'll have to have you back another time
Absolutely.
at
We
some
can
point.
cover
But best
another
luck with the
topic.
studio. We totally could. And if you're listening to this and you're ever deciding to go to Finland, please go and visit Oona's studio because it's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
on, and I'll speak to you soon. Mwah. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Really hope you enjoyed it. And remember, you can always request who you want on the show. So if you want someone on, why don't you go and send me a DM on Instagram and let me know who you want me to interview next. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.
That was all the tea that you can get this week. Join me next time right here. It's the Weekly Tea.